Welcome back to the channel, friends and family. Today we got a little project to do here. One of my friends dropped off his truck. Said he's having some misfire issues and a couple other problems. He's never really done much other than a few oil changes. Well, he's done a handful of oil changes and it's got around 200,000 miles on it. He's never changed the spark plugs, the fuel filter, and I think only one time on the air filter. So we're going to start with scanning the truck, because that's what I like to do, to just check for any codes that may be on it. Then we'll start with the simple stuff. He's also got some vibration and some other issues in the front end we're going to look at once we get the runnability issues done. Y'all know that I'm not really a how-to channel per se, but you're welcome to stick around and maybe pick up a few tips and tricks. It came a little rain shower here just right as I got started, so I had to stop the video for a minute. Now it's like a sauna out here, but we're gonna get the job done. Y'all come on with me and check out this scanner. I'm sure it's going to be some glare on the screen and hard to see all of it. But this is kind of what all this Zeus scanner will do that I've got. A lot of stuff. We'll start with scanning it. Got a 2013 F-150 with a 5.0 Coyote. We'll run a code scan. We're going to do pre-scan for I have not made repairs yet. Ignition's on. Now we'll let it do its thing. Oh, she's got a lot of codes. Let's see. Ambient air temperature sensor. It's not too much to worry about. Catalyst efficiency below threshold, bank 1 and bank 2. That can be an issue. Evap pressure sensor switch. Circuit range performance. That's going to be in the evap system. Evap leak, large leak detected. Evap leak, small leak, or fuel cap loose or off. That's a pretty common one if you don't get your cap back tight or you have a faulty fuel cap. Fuel pump A control circuit open. We'll check that out. It pretty much goes through the same codes again. Body codes, we got a key and switch short circuit to ground. Steering control, this does have electronic steering on it. Steering wheel right, switch pack, circuit voltage above threshold. Initial configuration not complete. He has had some work done on his electronic steering. Air distribution damper motor, that's on your heating ventilation system. That'll be on your body control module. It's reading there. Problem with the air distribution damper motor. Invalid data received from the ECM PCMA. We'll check them out too. So that's where we're starting at. So we're going to go back here and we're going to clear all the codes. Most of y'all aren't going to have a diagnostic computer quite as fancy as this one, I guess you'd say. After 25 years of having an auto shop, it's kind of a necessary tool. Or not after, I guess I should say, while having an auto shop. Alright, let's get started on some repairs, shall we? We're also going to run some live data streams on this engine before we do any repairs. way we can look for any misfires or any other issues live. It's kind of shaking. It sounds a little rough. Not showing. There's cylinder 2 with a misfire. Cylinder 6 has a misfire. Cylinder 8. This is a cold start as well. I'm not showing any injector faults on 1 through 7. No injector faults on the even banks 2 through 8. Learned misfire correction profile, yes. So the computer has learned that it has a misfire and it's trying to correct itself for fuel and air mixture ratios. Throttle at time of misfire was 13%. Engine RPM right now is at 1179 RPMs. Engine load 35%. Let's give it a little throttle and see if it shows any more misfire. We got 2, 6, 7, and 8. They're not bad misfires, so we'll just pull them and see what they look like. Tip number 1, it's a good idea to get in a good habit of leaving your key stuck in the door when you're working on anything with electric windows and locks. I have seen people lock them inside, and I've done it myself. Working on the vehicle, alarm goes off or something. It's just better to have them out here, and then you know right where they're at. Now, the customer brought their own parts. They asked me what I recommended, sight unseen, before I ever saw the truck. And I told them to get a Motorcraft air filter and Motorcraft iridium spark plugs to stay OEM with them. But they went on the cheap and got the Frammo air filter and Autolite cheapy iridium spark plugs. Even though they're iridium, they're still Autolite, and that's kind of bottom of the barrel stuff. So please, if you're working on a Ford, do Motorcraft if you can afford it. If you're working on GM, go back to AC Delco. It's just always better to stick with the OEM equipment for the repairs and maintenance. You'll have a lot better repair when you're done, and it'll last longer. That's what we're working with here. Pretty easy to get to on this one. Right there is coil pack number 2, 4, 6, and 8. It looks like somebody has been in this before, even though the customer says they haven't. The reason I know that is because all the little red safety retaining clips are missing off of these coil connectors. Now they just, I don't know if you can see that, they just push down right here in this middle piece, and then they slide straight off. Pretty easy to get to. You can do it with your thumb or with a pick. Just kind of tuck them out of your way for now. You can't get them mixed up. They're not long enough. I see a little piece of what's left of a red safety clip in this very back one. That's going to make it difficult. There it goes. That's what somebody broke off and left in that one. Part of the safety clip. Making it difficult for the next guy. There we go. A little bit of patience goes a long ways. Next thing we're going to do is take a 8mm socket and our electric ratchet, make a little racket here. We're going to pull these bolts out. That holds the coil in. And you notice my rubber glove is split already. They're well worth a few dollars to buy some of those. They've saved me a few scars over the years. Though I do have plenty of scars on my hands when I haven't used them. Next thing we'll do is give a little twist and pull action on these coils, and they'll pop right out. Like that right there. We're going to inspect them and look at them. We're looking for any oil, like that right there, or cracks, heat stress cracks. Well, that's a factory mold line. You also want to check the boots. Make sure they're not, get it in front of the camera, make sure they're not dry rotted, and these look pretty good. They'll get cracks in them across, and then they'll arc through this boot into the side of the head. So see, that gasket's kind of messed up on that one. Whoever was in there last. It's hard for me to go behind people. Don't like it when they don't do it right. That's how the gasket should look all the way around if you do it right. No cracks. Boots look good. We're going to keep these in order that we pull them out, just for reference, so we'll know where to go back. You can mix and match them, it don't matter, but I like to keep them the same unless we got, there's another one with the boot messed up, or the gasket messed up. You can mix and match these coils to different cylinder holes, that's not a problem. But when you're showing misfires, I like to put them back in the same hole. I guess that's tip number 2. Put them back in the same hole, and then you can know later if you got a bad coil causing the misfire, because it'll stay in the same hole even after you do the plugs. Next, I'm gonna take this long 5/8 spark plug socket. You can pick these up. I think this one's even probably a Harbor Freight Taiwanese. You can pick them up anywhere for 10 bucks or so. But you're gonna have to have them if you're working on these Fords where the spark plug's way down in the head. It takes all that spark plug. I have done it with the shorter sockets, but it is not fun. If your socket comes off your extension down in the hole, then you gotta go hunch your magnet and all that. I'm breaking these loose with a breaker bar. You can do it with a regular ratchet, hand ratchet. I don't recommend doing it with an electric ratchet to break them loose, but once you get them broke loose, you can run them out with an electric ratchet. Oh, that one's got a little bit on it. I'm just gonna go ahead and break them all loose. Sometimes I go forward and backwards just to make sure I don't break a plug off in the hole. I'll explain what to do to keep this from happening next time. Somebody will like going behind me, because I'm going to put anti-seize back on them when I put the new ones in, which is what you're supposed to do. You got a steel plug, steel spark plug, and an aluminum head. Always best to anti-seize them. Number 3 are broke loose. Need a shorter extension. Getting this back hole. They're tight. It's pretty much the same way you do any of the Triton V8s, 5.4, 4.6. Triton V8s are sunk down in the head like that too on these Fords. Let me get my blower. I'll show you tip number 3. Now, a lot of people don't do this next step, but I have learned through the years to do it, because there's stuff can get down in them. Little dirt and sand and grit can get down in them holes. So I take a blower and blow them out before I remove the spark plugs completely. Just make sure you get all the grit out. You don't want that down inside your engine. Just like sandpaper inside your engine. Hold your ears. Pretty clean, but I always like to make sure the last guy didn't leave something in there. Might have lost something in there before they put the coil in. You never know. A piece of paper, a leaf, a tape, piece of dirt, anything. I have seen it happen. We're going to go back to the electric ratchet just for ease. Start on the back one. And there she is. Focus on that. That is a burnt up plug right there. Put a focus on it. There's way too big a gap in that plug. Let's look at one of the new ones. See if you can see the difference in them. Good bit of difference there on the gap and the thickness. And this point's cleaner. Look what they had in there. That motorcraft in there. That's what it's supposed to have. Now this is imperative. Come on, focus camera. You don't have to use the high temp. That's just what I choose to use. The orange anti-seize or copper. You can use the gray anti-seize. It'll work just fine too. I just like to run the high temp. I'll tell you, if you get this stuff on you, you'll be wearing it till Sunday, all week long. But it is some nasty stuff. You don't want to get none on the tip. You can help it. Just trying to coat the threads a little bit. A little too much. And this will be your best friend, whoever takes it off next time. They will love you for that. And your engine will love you too. And don't just drop it in the hole. You may dent the end of the firing pin. And always start it by hand. Make sure you got several threads started so that you don't cross thread it. Because that is a bad day when you cross thread a spark plug down in a hole. I'm just barely going to not tighten it, just barely pull it up with this electric ratchet. Alright, I felt it as soon as it ran out of threads. Now I'm going to go back to this. I recommend that everybody torques their spark plugs to the correct OEM specs on a torque. I've been doing it long enough that I know what the feel like is for the torque on these. So if you're gonna do it yourself, you've never done them much, get you a little torque ratchet. You'll use it a lot if you're working on cars. Why do we get so blurry? I hope that wasn't blurry the whole time. Out comes number 6. Yep. She's worn down pretty good too. It's getting kind of thin on the side there. She's got a lot of corrosion on it. Sorry if that keeps going. Blurry on y'all. I don't know what to do to fix that other than keep tapping it. Maybe I need to put the camera in a different mode. Different mood. Once again, we're just gonna make life easy. little coating of that in the seas. Gently place it back in the hole. Turn it several threads by hand. Make sure the threads are started good. Back to my manual. Snug, good. On to the next one. Another thin one. So I'm not gonna hurt it. And make a gap checker to check your gap too. Oh, y'all can't see that. Focus. That you check your gap in here with. It looked pretty close to me, so I'm not gonna check it any further. Focus. Focus, focus. Did not bring me any boots or seals, so I'm just going to have to go back this way. They're easy to change out. It is helpful to put some dielectric grease into the end of the boot down in here. I've already greased these up inside. It's a dielectric grease, or you can use a spark plug grease they got it there at the parts store when you get your plugs and stuff. Which helps the contact and keep from corrosion. Now you want to be gentle with these little 8mm screws. They do not require much tightness. Just want to get them snug. Make sure you hear that click. And then you know they're on there good. It won't vibrate off. But you can give it a little tug test. That one isn't seated yet. Old seal in there is a little dry. There we go. That's one side done. The other side's pretty much the same. This video's come out a little bit longer, so we're gonna make a part 2 on working on the front end suspension stuff. We did get this job finished up and rescanned, and it took care of all the misfires and rough running issues with the simple tune-up. So y'all stay tuned for part 2. That concludes our spark plugs and coil pack checks, replacing the plugs. Now we're gonna move on to the air filter. You see these little clips right here. Be 3 of them. One's kind of hidden back here. Pull them loose. Stand you up here. Get it under here. Push down right there. And there's your air filter. Actually not that dirty. We're gonna put a thicker one in there. You can see the difference in the height. When you're changing the air filter, be sure to get that kind of stuff out. All that pine straw, that don't do you no good. Why is a radiator cap inside the air filter box? That don't make much sense. That's a good way to restrict the airflow. Silly. It's not the one off the truck, because it's still on there. It's filthy though. Air filter done.